Alright, what is up guys? VV back with another video. And today we're going to be talking about Purple Yellow Crocodile. And this is a leader that I've been very interested in lately ever since picking up Yellow. Now don't worry, you know, I just recently did a video on Queen. I have not gone away from that yet. I'm still going to be playing Queen next on my list. But I did notice on OnePieceTopDecks.com, the website that I always use to find my tournament results, OnePieceTopDecks.com right here. Here's a little website link. I noticed that there was a deck list that came out in the West, excuse me, and it looks like it went 5-0. Here it is, some type of store championship over in the UK by this guy here named Jack Bankhurst. Okay, if I'm reading this all correctly. But this list here is really interesting, and I like a lot what's going on. So we're going to kind of go over that. We're just going to talk about this list, do a little, you know, meta watch type video, a deck tech style video, and I'm going to show y'all what I've been working on as well. And this list I had not seen, and it's, you know, I was getting close to this list, but they're definitely a little different than mine. So let's go ahead and look at it. So I'm just going to read through the list first, then we'll talk about it. 4 Black Maria, 4 Uda, 4 Crocodile, 4 Miss All Sunday, 4 of Miss Valentine, 4 of Mr. Babe, or Mr. 4 Babe, excuse me, I missed it, 4 of Mr. 13 and Miss Friday, 4 of Sanji, 4 Katakuri, 4 Gang Beige, 4 Yamato, 4 Gum Gum Jet Gatling, and 2 Blast Breath. So it's just a straight up 4 of everything. Excuse me. So that is pretty interesting. Now, one thing I want to look at right away are these 4-cost blockers that he's running. 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter blockers. Both of them have that. Uda and Black Maria. They both are 4-cost, 5k, 1k counter blockers, and they both have an on-block Dawn -1. Black Maria's is this character gains plus 1,000 power during this turn, so that's nice, puts her at a 6k. And Uda has Dawn -1, rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less, which is very nice, right? That's a good way to lock down your opponent's characters. And for those who don't know, this interacts perfectly with Crocodile. This is what the leader Crocodile's effect is meant to interact with. On your opponent's turn, once per turn, when you return Dawn from your field to the Dawn deck through one of your effects, add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Okay, so that's very nice. Okay, and it's also running lots of life gain, right? 4 of the 8-cost Crocodile that on play, Dawn -2 to gain a life. It runs 4 Yamato, again, if you have 1 or less life, gain a life, and potential KO effect here. You know, and it's running the Baroque Works Searcher package here with Miss Valentine Makita. This is a 2-cost, 2,000 power, 1k counter, top 5 Searcher that has trigger Dawn -1, play this card. So remember, with the leader's effect, you're basically just getting that for free. You're basically untapping a Dawn to play that trigger, right? So imagine what that allows you to do on your opponent's turn. That will allow for you to do a Blast Breath, which that's one thing I wanted to mention. I mean, clearly this deck worked out just fine, right? Oh, and it even says who they won against. Look at this. Very cool. I just now saw this. It even shows that they won against a blue and purple Crocodile, 2 Rebeccas, and 2 green-purple Dofis. Wow. Very, very nice. Very impressive. No red decks, but still very impressive that it beats some of these higher-tier decks like Rebecca and Dofi. And I think blue-purple Crocodile is definitely a sleeper. I don't think this is a bad list by any stretch. Or, you know, I think it has potential. It's probably the best way I should say that. But I was very surprised the deck was not running 4 Blast Breath, because, like I said, anytime you're getting the effect of your leader on your opponent's turn, well, you're getting 1 Dawn as active, which is turning on, you know, the ability to use a Blast Breath, or even a Narukabura Arrow. So, you know, very interesting that he's not running that. For the Gang Beige, he's not running any of the 4-cost Sanji either, which I thought was interesting. But obviously he's favoring more of the Baroque Works package, obviously. And this is a top 5 searcher for Baroque Works. Most of the stuff in here is Baroque Works, but there are some that are not, right? Like 4 Black Maria, 4 Uda, 4 Sanji, 4 Katakuri, 4 Beige, 4 Yamato, and 4 of Yeah, this is water 7. So 4 of Gum Gum Jet Gatling, 2 of the Blast Breath. So realistically, the only the only Baroque Works characters that are in this list are 4 Miss All Sunday, 4 Miss Valentine, 4 Mr. Babe, 4 Miss Friday, or Mr. 13 and Miss Friday, and 4 Crocodile. That's it in the whole list. So just 20 cards. And 4 of them you probably... Can you search? Let me see. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal 1 card with Baroque Works types. So it can even be a Makita, which is nice. So you can even search for another Makita. So again, that is pretty nice. But there are only 20 targets it can grab, which is not bad. That's more than enough, right? For a top 5 search, you can probably get away with that, no problem. And this player clearly did get away with it, right? I really like the Uda and the Black Maria. I like what's going on there. Big fan of Crocodile. Obviously, I've mentioned this in previous videos. I think this is like this plus Yamato are like the sole reason I think this deck can work. I think those big, boss drops are the only thing that can allow for this deck to work. Personally, that's just my personal opinion. Excuse me. But so let's see how many 2K counters we're running. We're looking at 4 for Miss 13 here, 4 Beige, and 4 Sanji. Or I keep saying Miss 13. 4 Mr. 13, 4 Beige, 4 Sanji. So we're looking at 12 2K counters, 2 Blast Breaths, and then 4 of the Jet Gatling. Now this makes a lot of sense in the deck he's running. This makes a lot of sense. You may trash 1 card from your hand, and then up to 1 of your leader or character cards gain plus 3K for the during this battle. And the trigger's nice too to ramp you down if needed. There are a lot of cards in this deck that are dead in hand. Right, Miss All Sunday does not have a counter, so there's 4. 4 Charlotte Katakuri, 4 Yamato, 4 Crocodile. So that right there was what, 20? Did I just say? I think wait, 4, 8, 12, 16. So 16 cards in the deck are basically just dead in hand. That's 1/3 of, about 1/3 of the deck, right? Just a little under 1/3 of the deck. So having these options here to trash those early on to survive into the late game is really nice. So big fan of that interaction there. I think that's really strong. It's running a lot of blockers. Yeah, 4 Black Maria, 4 Uda, 4 Mr. 4 Babe, and yeah, just some huge beaters, right? Just, Crocodile, Yamato, and Katakuri. Katakuri seems really good in this list, because, yeah, you can always use Katakuri offensively to, like, bounce their guy out of the way, sure. But even defensively in this list, if you get down Miss Valentine and they don't deal with this card, which, by the way, you wouldn't want to swing with this card, right? It's just sitting on the board, and that's perfectly fine. So you can just have it sit on the board. If they don't KO it with some way, or, through some way, you can Katakuri to gain a life, and you're about to get a top 5 search by returning a Dawn, which is going to untap one of your Dawn through your leader's effect, clearing the way for something like a Blast Breath. Right, so that is, that is very strong. That's a very strong interaction. What else? You can bounce back your Miss All Sunday if she survives. If she doesn't get KO'd, and that's going to be another draw card effect. So. And Miss All Sunday in this list, for those who don't know, she is Baroque Works, number 1. But number 2, you see how it's Dawn -2 to play this card? Well, in this deck, with Crocodile's leader effect, you're going to return 1 Dawn from Crocodile's effect, and you're going to return 1 Dawn from Miss All Sunday's effect, right, from her on play, add up to 1 rested Dawn. So if you're at 6 Dawn or more, you're going to get to draw the card. And you're going to get the 5K body for free on your opponent's turn. Right, just very powerful interaction there. And then potentially, if you need to, you're going to be able to bounce it back and do it again the next turn and replace the 5K body with an 8K body. Just very, very powerful. Mr. 4 Babe is really interesting. This is a 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter blocker. Well, excuse me, he can get blocker. Otherwise, if you don't do the effect, he's not. But when the opponent attacks, you can return 1 Dawn card, and then this character gains blocker and plus 1,000 power during this battle. So it becomes a 7,000 power blocker. That's pretty substantial, guys. Like, that's actually a pretty decent spot there, because, okay, and it is during this battle, but still. So he's on the field, and 7K. If they swing for 6, you're just ignoring it. If they swing for 7, you're countering out for 1. If you choose to, if you even choose to, right? That's pretty nice. I think this character's probably a little bit underrated. You know what I mean? I do think this character's decent. Not to say it's insane, not to say it's broken, but just that this is probably a slightly underrated card. Not bad. And then on the crackback, this guy is a 5 cost 6K, so attaching 1 Dawn, you're swinging for 7. And then, sure, if you want to attack him, you know, you're going to be able to do all kind of shenanigans if they try to attack him. So, very strong. Lots of 2K counters, like we said, 12 of those. It's got a searcher, 4, 8, 12 potential blockers, 12 potential beaters. I'm a big fan of this list. You know, I talked about how I wanted to talk about the in a future video about how to build decks. I was going to do one today, but I just did not have the time. Like, I wanted to invest a little more time into it. But I was going to talk about, you know, there's a 5x10 list way of constructing decks. Then there's also like this 4x12 list. It's like a 4x12 plus 2, right? You know, 48 plus 2 list. And that's what this list is. This is just running 12 blockers. It's running 12, you know, bosses. It's running 12 2K counters. And it's running 12 utility cards in Miss All Sunday, or whatever, you know, Miss Valentine, whatever here. And Miss All Sunday, Miss Valentine, and the Jet Gatlings. So it just has like some really strong answers there, and then the 2 other spots, the Blast Breath, you know, just 2 little filler spots. So just very, very awesome. And check this out. The list didn't have to be too complicated. It just got the job done. He said, you know what, I'm just going to run 4 of the best cards in each slot, and that's we're going to call it a day. Now, like I said, it did not beat any red decks, so I don't know how strong this deck will be against red, but I'm sure it can't be that bad, right? I mean, it's running plenty of blockers. I'm sure he built the list intending to go against red. You know what I mean? So yeah. So definitely tell me what you guys think about this list. And now we're going to look at the list that I had been coming up with. And this list is not the same. And I think the list we just looked at is better, by the way. But like I said, I had been working on a purple-yellow list, and then I saw that list today on OnePieceTopDecks.com. So I was very close. I was working on like this 5x10 curve where I had, you know, 10 monsters, 10 events. Then I had a little extra, you know, with Gum Jet Gatling. There we go. And then, you know, it was kind of like a slightly modified 5x10 list, basically. That's why, you know, and I was going to try out this Marianne Miss Golden Week. I thought that'd be kind of cool. Let me zoom in a little bit so we can read these better. But yeah, there we go. I was running 10 2K counters, like I said, 10 boss monsters, 10 main events, and then 2 little filler utility events to go with other utility cards, and then 10 blockers from life. Right, it was 4 Brulee, 2 Miss Merry Christmas, and 4 Sanji. So, you know, 10 blockers from life, 10 2K counters, 10 bosses, 10 events, and 10 utility cards in the form of Golden Week, Valentine Makita, and the Gum Jet Gatlings. Actually, it would have probably been one more too, because that's only. I wonder. I'm not sure. Like I said, it might have been slightly modified, but y'all get the point. Oh, the Miss All Sunday. That must have been what it was. Anyway, long story short, you know, that was kind of the list I was going off, or the deck building I was going off of. And like I said, I kind of really like the Narkabura Arrow in this list. I haven't play tested it, but I like the idea of it. And we'll have to see. Maybe I'm trying to make the list too defensive, like too event defensive, whereas, you know, maybe it's better to go more blocker defensive. Because that's one thing about One Piece. It's, you know, it's just a character-based game. It's, you know, people get mad at certain archetypes, like, for example, like Nami, because that's more of an event-based deck. And I think people don't like the way that interacts, when in all reality, you know, that's a pretty interesting deck, right? And it kind of breaks up the monotony of how this game plays out. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a Nami player. I've never even played Nami in a tournament. It's not my style. It's nothing. Well, excuse me, it might be my style. That's the funny part. But I'm not a huge fan of that win condition. I'm a big fan of alternate win conditions, but I don't know how much I like self-mill as a win condition. I'm not really for that. I'm not completely against it. Like, I like how there is an alternate win condition in the format, but I'm not completely for it either. So, you know, kind of somewhere in the middle. Anyway, long story short, you know, this is the list I've been working on. And after seeing the other players' list, I think I really do like the way this list is set up. But like I said, I kind of will want to go up Blast Breaths. So I don't know what I would change. And then, you know, you start changing a list, now you're messing everything up. But I'll tell you what, it'll be easier for me to go down 2 Katakuris because I only have 2. So that'll be a necessary change that I'll have to do. I don't really have a choice, right? So maybe for the time being, I'll go down to 2 Katakuris and I'll go up to Blast Breaths and see how that goes. Or maybe even go up to, well, since I'm going down 2 Katakuris, maybe I'll go down 1 Jet Gatling as well, going up a Narukabura arrow, two Narukabura arrows and 1 Blast Breath. That's probably what I'll do. Right, so -2 Katakuri, -1 Gatling, up 1 Blast Breath, up 2 arrows. That'll probably be the first thing I mess around with. I'll also probably just change out this 2K counter because I think there's better ones out there with more utility. In fact, I would even rather run Khalifa than this card, but that's just me. That's just Again, I mean, I get what you can potentially do. I guess you can throw something in your life with this, and if somehow Sanji survives, you can move stuff around. But that's not really the intent, right? That's not really what this is, how that works. I mean, it can work, but I'm not going to say any more there. But anyway, long story short, I'll probably change out Sanji for, what was the guy that I was running? I thought it was I was running the Miss 13s, Mr. 13 and Miss Friday. I think I was only running 2 of those. This chick, the Miss Doublefinger. I would even just rather run this over the Sanjis. Now, you guys tell me if I'm missing something here. Is there a reason to run this over the Baroque Works? Because this, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. This girl is even searchable. You type in Baroque. Okay, this girl, Miss Doublefinger, she's even searchable, right? She's a 4-cost 4K, 2K counter with a trigger Dawn -1 to play the card. And then on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. You don't have to do that, right? That's not really the thing to do. If you need it as a 2K counter, use it as a 2K counter. But it's just ultimately bigger and has this trigger synergy with your leader. Again, I don't know if I'm missing something. Y'all, please help me out. You know, I'm not perfect. I'm just a human. But other than that, I really like the Gum Jet Gatlings. I was running 2 of those. I was running 4 of the Blast Breaths. Let me blow up my list here. There we go. I was running 10 2K counters, like I said. I was running 4 Brûlée, 4 Sanji, and 2 of the Miss Merry Christmas. Again, that's searchable for Baroque Works. I think we were both running about 20. Yeah, I was running 21 Baroque Works because, remember, it does count the leader in this for some reason. So I'm only running 21 Baroque Works, and he was running 20, the other deck. So I definitely think our lists are very comparable, very similar, but his seemed a little more straightforward, like a little more simplistic and basic, and that's not always a bad thing. Like, you know, it's sometimes to make it more simple is just better. But yes, you guys tell what y'all think. Our lists are very similar. We're running the same boss package, just at a different number. Both running Jet Gatlings and Blast Breaths. I'm trying out the Narukabura Arrow and Hell's Judgment. Because my thought is this. Let me just explain real quick with the Leader's Effect. My thought on Blast Breath is, okay, I keep 1 Dawn active. He knows I'm running Blast Breath, right? So I use Blast Breath. Boom. You know, Dawn -1, so it comes back into play untapped. And then I send it on a Narukabura Arrow as well. Because the only thing you need to activate Narukabura Arrow is you have to have 2 or less life cards in your life area. Yeah. I don't know, it just seems pretty good to me. Hell's Judgment as well, just extremely powerful. And both of these effects, for what it's worth, both of these effects last during this turn. So if you Dawn if you -3,000 or they're both -3,000. But if you -3,000 their characters, well, all of a sudden, you know, that's, you know, you're going to be hitting them with, how do I say this? Cards like Luffy, like the 7-cost Dressrosa Luffy, he's not getting the 3,000 power back for the next attack if you use one of these on the first go around. You see what I'm saying? Whereas like Blast Breath, yeah, it gives your guy plus 4,000 power, but it's for the turn. Gatling gives it's for the battle, excuse me. And then Gatling gives plus 3,000 for the battle. Hell's Judgment and Narukabura Arrow just shut him down for the turn. Like, you're just not getting that power back. But anyway, this is something I'll probably be messing with eventually. First, I still have Queen, like I mentioned in the previous video. I'm going to be playtesting Queen in the near future, but I think this is probably going to be right after that. What are y'all's thoughts on Miss Golden Week? Let me go ahead and read this to y'all for those who don't know what it does. So Miss Golden Week is right in the middle here. Marianne, in parentheses. This is a 2-cost 3,000 counter 1,000 power character, so it's not exactly a huge beater. It does have Dawn -1 to play the card. And check this out. On play, if your leader's Baroque Works, which obviously our leader is, you see up here, choose one of your opponent's cost 5 or lower characters until the end of your opponent's next turn. The chosen character cannot attack. So, okay, if you play it from hand, your opponent's character, that costs 5 or less, will not be able to attack, right? Like, they have to wait an entire turn to attack. But if you get this off the trigger on their turn, you know, I mean, I guess it's still kind of technically the same thing, but if you hit a character that hasn't attacked yet, you see that, right? Choose one of your opponent's cost 5 or lower characters until the end of your opponent's next turn. The chosen character can't attack. So if they hit you, let's just say they pop through with, I don't know, say they pop through with Zoro, right? And they don't have a Luffy, and say they have a Luffy in play, right? This is just an example. Like, okay, and they haven't swung with the Luffy yet. If they hit you with the Zoro and you get this trigger off the top, okay, Dawn -1, that Dawn comes right back, right, because who your leader is, and now you choose their character, and, you know, whether it be Luffy or any 5 cost or lower character, and guess what? They can't attack this turn now, and they can't attack the next turn either. Right, theoretically, that's the idea. Now, yeah, you have to hit that off the trigger, and I'm only running 2. That probably won't come up very often, but I think you guys see what I'm saying. It's almost like a beige, right? This is almost like a mini beige attack, or a mini beige counter. Whereas the nice thing about beige is if you have it in hand, you can just 2K counter. But the nice thing about Golden Week is you can just play this and just shut down a 5 cost till next turn. So, I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think about Miss Golden Week in a deck like this. Maybe it's too techy. Maybe it's trying to get too fancy. Like, just play a blocker instead. You know what I mean? Everything else, I think, is self-explanatory. You know, you got the Brule, you got the Mr. 13 and Miss Friday. You got the Searcher. I already talked about Marianne. We know the beige does. Miss Merry Christmas Trophy. This is a 4-cost, 4,000 power blocker that has Dawn -1 to play the card. I think this card's kind of decent. It does not have a 1K counter, so that does hurt. But I think the card is still very decent. I'm just running as a 2 of. I got the 4 Sanjis. We know what that does. Miss Doublefinger. This is the card I was talking about that I was surprised he didn't run over Sanji. Miss All Sunday. We know Katakuri. We know all the rest of these cards. I'm not even going to explain them. But let me go back real quick just to talk about it one more time. I'm surprised he did not just swap this out for Miss Doublefinger because it's a 2K counter, like we know, a 4-cost 4K 2K counter that can be searched up by Miss Valentine. Worst case scenario, right? Like, say you don't find the search you know, because you're probably realistically when you use the search, you know, you're going for the big dog, you're going for Crocodile. Well, you might not get that, but what if instead there was a Sanji in there and a bunch of other stuff you couldn't get when this could have been the 2K counter? So I will say that the only adjustment I would make to this deck, first of all, is what I said. I'd be taking out the 2 Katakuris because I just don't even have them, and going up 1 Blast Breath, taking out 1 Gum Gum Jet Gatling, and going up 2 Narkabur Arrows. And then for the 4 Sanji, I'd be swapping this out immediately for Miss Doublefinger. But that's just me. But other than that, I think this list is clean. I think it's really cool. It's a nice, easy 4 of list straight down. It looks so fun to play. I can't wait to try it. All right, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you guys got any questions, any comments, if I missed anything, please don't be afraid to leave a comment in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me out. I super appreciate it. And guys, we're getting really close to 1,000 subs. Once I hit 1,000 subs, which hopefully is in the next few days, we're gonna be. I'm gonna do a quick, you know, a quick video when that happens. Just talking about it. It'll be a short video that day, just talking about the Discord. It's, you know, it's gonna be free to anyone who wants to come into it. It's not like I'm gonna like put it behind a paywall. It's just whoever wants to join on the like a community Discord. I'm gonna post the information to make it available once I hit 1,000 subs. So, all right, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed, and until next time, guys. Peace.